Good, happy Tuesday evening. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this Tuesday evening edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Tuesday evening, so let's begin. First up, second mass vaccination drive at New Hampshire Motor Speedway this weekend. Governor Chris Sununu announced Tuesday that a second mass vaccination drive will be held at New Hampshire Motor Speedway in Loudon this weekend. The mass vaccination event will be held on Saturday, March 27th and Sunday, March 28th. It will not be open to walk-in appointments. Appointments remain available for eligible residents to schedule on the state's new Vaccine and Immunization Network Interface VINI website. The state held its first mass vaccination drive at the Speedway earlier this month. Just a few weeks after hosting our first mass vaccination site and just days after opening Phase 2B, New Hampshire is moving full speed ahead with our second mass vaccination site, Sununu said in a statement. This weekend is yet another opportunity for state of New Hampshire as we continue to get doses into arms as quickly as the federal government delivers them. The state said it hopes to vaccinate 8,000 individuals at this speedway this weekend. The site will be open from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. on both days. Appointments remain available for eligible individuals to schedule at vaccines.newhampshire.gov or through their VINI account. Residents can also call 211 to schedule an appointment. Those with later appointments can also reschedule for an appointment at the Speedway in their VINI account. Those who don't live close to the Speedway can still select the location for an appointment, but may need to expand their mile radius when looking for a nearby appointment. Only individuals who have confirmed appointment with the state will be able to receive the vaccine. Those without a confirmed appointment should not show up at the Speedway this weekend. New Hampshire is now in Phase 2A of its vaccine rollout, with teachers, school workers, and child care providers being vaccinated through regional public health networks, working in partnership with school officials as well as state-run sites. New Hampshire residents age 50 to 64 fall into Phase 2B of the state's vaccination rollout. Registration for that group opened Monday, but appointments won't begin until March 25th. As of Monday, 22% of the state's population had gotten at least one dose of the vaccine, with 12% fully vaccinated, officials said. Coronavirus metrics like the test positivity rate are holding steady. Debate brews over logistic center planned for town of Hudson. Opponents say the project would transfer town into truck stop. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Ray Brewer.
For the easy and the complex, the small stuff and the big, we're here with the affordable local loans, easy to manage accounts, and financial advice to help you blaze a trail, figure stuff out, and make your money go farther. We're Granite State Credit Union. Live bold.
Currently occupied by the Green Meadow Golf Course, the plan would construct 3 buildings totaling over 2.5 million square feet. 2 of the buildings would serve as distribution hubs for Amazon. Speaking last week, the governor expressed his support.
I think it's a very good project, a huge economic opportunity for the state of New Hampshire, a huge economic opportunity for Hudson.
I don't think this town wants to become a truck stop.
Jim Dobbins is one of a number of people in Hudson opposed to the plan.
You've got 400 acres of prime real estate out there that could be developed, I would think, in a much more responsible way.
The development would mean hundreds of tractor trailers a day coming into the town. Dobbins says existing streets like Route 3A can't handle any more traffic. But the governor notes the plan calls for the developers to make improvements.
These folks aren't just dealing with the traffic issues, they're helping existing traffic issues, right? That's how good some of the new traffic plans that they've agreed to are.
Dobbins and others are skeptical, not believing that all the traffic will funnel onto the nearby highway and will instead tie up the back roads. And while the project would add millions to the property base, Dobbins believes any benefit would be short-lived.
You probably would get 1 year, maybe 2 years of a hold, and then natural inflation, natural costs to the system, the addition of personnel would obviously eat that up.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Seabrook fire victim identity publicly released by officials. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Your employees' passion never runs out. They deserve monthly income that does the same. In over 100 years, we've never missed a payment. Give them monthly retirement income for life.
Breaking news this noon, an investigation into a deadly fire in Seabrook. The state fire marshal says it broke out on Spruce Court at 10:30 last night. A woman died of smoke inhalation and a man was seriously injured and flown to a hospital in Boston. Their identities are not being released. The cause of the fire is under investigation. This is the 5th fire death in New Hampshire this year.
Okay, and there you go on that video. They have officially released the woman's identity, the victim as Eileen Doherty, 69. Doherty's death was the 5th fire-related death in New Hampshire this year. Governor Baker says Massachusetts has applied for FEMA-backed mass vaccination site. Let's take a listen to that video.
As one of the region's largest family-owned energy providers, Eastern Propane and Oil knows a thing or two.
The second thing to keep in mind is that the approach we've taken is very much in line with the recommendations of the federal government and health experts. I appreciate that some point to plans developed in a pre-COVID world and ask why we chose not to follow them. The fact is that COVID and the vaccines developed so far to prevent it present unique challenges that forced us to make adjustments. The extremely limited supply, the need for cold and ultra-cold storage, the prep process, the potential for spoilage, and the 2-dose regimen were all on-the-ground realities that required a different playbook than the one we developed and is different than the one we would have used to battle an outbreak using a traditional, understood, or widely available antibiotic or vaccine. Overall, we followed the lead of the federal agencies like FEMA and the CDC and modified our approach. Under both the Trump and Biden administrations, the federal government's distributed vaccines through the same channels we're using: mass vac sites, pharmacies, and community health centers. Last fall, the CDC issued a COVID-19 vaccine playbook and asked states to submit their vaccine plans in accordance with that playbook, which we did in October. The CDC's playbook asked states to plan for 3 phases of vaccine distribution. Phase 1 with limited doses, Phase 2 with sufficient doses to meet available demand, and phase 3 with sufficient and perhaps even surplus supply. For all the progress that's been made in recent weeks to increase supply, we're very much still in a period of constrained supply, which means we're still in phase 1 according to the CDC's playbook. That playbook says, for a scenario with limited vaccine availability, quote, given the challenging storage, handling, and administration requirements, early vaccination should focus on administration sites that can reach prioritized populations with as much throughput as possible. The Biden administration's continued the push for mass vaccination sites, strongly recommending that states run such sites, and is actively seeking to expand mass vaccination sites across the nation. In fact, we're working closely with the federal administration and with the support and advocacy of our congressional delegation have applied for a FEMA-sponsored mass vaccination site here in Massachusetts.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Maine CDC launches COVID-19 vaccine pre-registration website. The Maine Center for Disease Control and Prevention on Tuesday launched a new website to help Mainers pre-register for COVID-19 vaccine. The state has been working on launching the website for several weeks. The Maine CDC director said the website is not meant to be a statewide vaccination registration system and will not supplement existing registration and appointments system. Many of the state's healthcare systems have already created. Also, the Maine CDC director said the state is working to determine which providers will utilize the state's system. A link to the website is located on Maine's CDC vaccination dashboard. Mainers provided their information and will be contacted with vaccination options once eligible. People can continue to register and make appointments with healthcare providers with their own systems. As of Tuesday, Mainers 50 and older were eligible to be vaccinated. Mainers 16 and older will be eligible on April 19th. First, look inside crowded border facility holding migrants. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
Now to our ABC News exclusive on the crisis at the border. Our first look at video inside one of the facilities that has been overwhelmed by the surge in migrants. Our chief White House correspondent, Cecilia Vega, is outside that facility. It's in Donna, Texas. Good morning, Cecilia.
Hi, Robin. Good morning to you. Yeah, we were out late last night talking to migrants who just crossed. We talked to young children, 2 boys, 7 and 9 years old. They are traveling by themselves, and there are so many children just like them who will likely end up in facilities just like this one behind me, severely overcrowded, no place for a child. Inside this tent facility on the southern border, so many children, they are sleeping on floors, side by side, huddled under foil blankets. The Biden administration refusing to allow journalists in to see for themselves, sources providing this first look. This video shot by Customs and Border Protection last week, obtained exclusively by ABC News. Only 250 people are supposed to be held here. Instead, there are close to 4,000. Some families, mostly unaccompanied minors, traveling alone, from teenage boys to infants. Here, toddlers in a playpen being watched by a caretaker. The kids made the treacherous journey all the way from Central America, hoping to claim asylum. Inside, they get medical checks. They line up one by one for food. This video showing girls at a center in El Paso exercising outside. But this is no place for children, crammed into pods. One pod housing more than 400 boys. The White House says they're working as quickly as possible to move these kids into shelters and homes, calling in FEMA for help. But under fire from critics who say they didn't do enough to plan for the surge after overturning many of Trump's hardline immigration policies, the administration still refuses to call the situation a crisis.
Well, children presenting at our border who are fleeing violence, who are fleeing prosecution, who are fleeing terrible situations is not a crisis.
At the border, we're with authorities on patrol, and the children just keep coming. This family telling me they've been traveling for more than a month, walking most of the way.
No?
He tells me he's not tired. He says he's ready to keep walking. And just up the road, an even larger group. In it, these two boys, 9 and 10 years old, both traveling alone, walking for more than a month. The group has taken them in, promising to keep them safe. The boys show me phone numbers of family members in the U.S. they soon hope to find. One written on a hat.
This is his grandfather's phone number.
The other written inside his pocket.
It's right here in his pants. ¿Tienen miedo?
I ask, are you scared? Yes, they tell me, very.
They are scared and they are hungry. The Border Patrol takes them into custody after we met them. They got brought to a place like this facility here behind me. We are seeing so many kids being housed in these facilities way past the 3 days that they are legally allowed to be here. After a place like this, they get put into a more child-friendly location, like a shelter or a foster care system where the government tries to reunite them with their family. That can take up to a month, sometimes over a month. This is a really complicated process. Robin, I will never forget, I can tell you, I will never forget the faces of those little boys.
I know that you won't. Thank you so much.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And thank you for joining us for this evening edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your evening. I'll see you back here tomorrow for another newscast. I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Good night and goodbye, everyone.